of merit, and I'm looking forward to the rest of this debate.
The Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Chairman, I'd like to start off with absolutely disagreeing with my colleague, the Chief Whip. And I know that won't do me much good, but Mr. Chairman, if he had looked carefully at this bill, especially at page 27, line 15, he would know that tohanare is not patentable. Because, sir, to be patentable, you've got to be useful. You've got to be useful. Mr. Speaker, an invention so claimed is useful if the invention has a specific, credible and substantial utility. And any suggestion that tohanare has a specific, a credible or a substantial utility can only be a lie. Can only be a lie, and therefore, sir, there is no question that tohanare is patentable. Mr. Speaker, I think it's also worth having a good look at clause 9 of the bill. Disclosure to be disregarded in certain circumstances, Mr. Chairman. And I think this is something that Mr. Hanare could have a good look at, because it is an area that he would be particularly interested in. Because what it does, Mr. Speaker, it goes to things being obtained unlawfully or in breach of confidence. And, Mr. Speaker, I invite tohanare to consider his relationship with his leader and matters of confidence. Sir, I think it's fair to say that members on this side of the House had a lot more confidence in him when he was attempting to elevate his status than the Prime Minister did. And I just want to thank the Honourable Tohanare for the disclosures that he did make in that particular area, the disclosures that he made to the House and the disclosures that he made to the country about his availability. Yes, he has gone quiet. Mr. Chairman, I'm going to accept that it's been a long time since I had a look at this bill. I think the last time I had a detailed look at it, Simon Power was the minister, and I note that this lazy minister has not progressed it at all, and in fact, sir, he hasn't progressed it even far enough to put his own name on the bill. He's got his name on the order paper, but Craig Foss hasn't even worked hard enough on this bill, has not made enough progress on the bill, has not made a proper contribution, even to the extent, Mr. Speaker, when one goes to 2352, the title page of the bill, we see that it is still in the name of the Honourable Simon Power. Well,
He's not even here anymore.
No, on the front part. No, it's not on the front. I'm working by the report back copy. Mr. Chairman, I do though want to say thank you to the minister on the question of the ICT, the programming issues around patents. The fact that he in the end got to the right decision. Mr. Speaker, I think it's fair to say that as someone who had been involved in both patents and also earlier in the copyright area, mine was one of the inboxes that tended to act as a magnet to the objections when the minister attempted to overturn the decisions of the Select Committee. And I do want to say that I think the Select Committee worked hard on it. I think it is also fair to say that the Select Committee were much less influenced by overseas ICT companies than was the minister and a number of the officials. And without making any specific comment, I think we do need to watch very, very carefully the influence of the major ICT companies in this area, and I am looking forward to the contribution of the Honourable Maurice Williamson in this area, because I know that he is someone who has quite a good knowledge in this area, who did some programs himself, which probably he had copyright on. They involved the National Party's canvassing system. Unfortunately, he left them in George Hawkins' office at one stage, Mr. Chairman. He left them in George Hawkins' office at one stage, I think along with a floppy disk which had a letter to the Transport Department asking to be let off a fine for speeding when at a period before he was a minister. So I think it's fair to say, Mr. Chairman, that these things are relatively easily discoverable, especially if people are careless and leave their floppy disks down the back of the couch, as the Honourable Maurice Williamson did. Mr. Speaker, this is getting towards being a good bill. There are some important SOPs. There are a couple which the Labour Party will not support, and I do want to just indicate that I'm slightly surprised with one of the later Green SOPs that it does not appear to be drafted in a way that addresses the interpretation section of the bill, in that while they are attempting to take the advisory out of the Maori Advisory Committee, their SOP is slightly sloppily drafted, in that it does not address Part 1 in the way that it probably should if it was carefully drafted and if there had been consultation on it. And I'm not saying if there had been consultation on it we would have supported it. Probably we wouldn't. I think giving Maori a veto over patents, I think, is something we're not to yet. I think listening, hearing, taking advice is important, but I think taking the advisory out of the committee, and I'm going to be interested to see how the Honourable Tohanare votes on that particular amendment. Whether he's going to be on my side again. On that note, Mr. Chairman, I'll leave it to my colleagues.
Pauline Dalzell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill, as my colleague has said, was introduced